everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Taking Over. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I am joined by the one and only, the natural astridpizarro, and we are here on Super Tuesday, NXT Mania, we're calling it here. Look at this lovely graphic. Look at it. All the peoples. I couldn't fit anything more on this graphic if I tried. I can't even fit our logo because this isn't even on the graphic. It's just part of our overlay. I can't even fit a me on there. I can't fit a you on there. I can't fit anything more on that graphic. And that still didn't even have the thing that ended the night.
No.
But we'll get to him. Because Lord knows it would have taken him about that long to walk to the ring. So we'll give him some time to get himself ready. Ashton, what did you think of NXT Mania tonight?
To me, it felt like a good combination of what NXT usually is, plus a lot more. You know what I mean? It's like we watch it on a weekly basis, so we know like lately they've been mixing a lot of main roster stars with NXT. So it's a little bit of that with, with like fireworks and everything because they had everything going on at the same time. So I enjoyed it a lot. I was like, I wouldn't mind this happening more often, but Dynamite, stick to it Wednesdays though, please. I can't watch more shows.
Yeah, no, we want to thank our good friend Mike the Ref for jumping in here and going ahead and rating us after his AEW watch along. Hope that everybody over there enjoyed watching AEW Dynamite. I hear there are some new champions. I hear that all kinds of fun stuff happened. If Tony Khan didn't call my favorite wrestler a bald asshole, I probably would watch it. But nope, sorry, not going to happen. We do have JJ Run jumping in. We have Mike the Ref saying that short of an entrance ramp, Taker should have loved it. He did, but he still used the motorcycle because it's badass Braun Breaker, so you need the American badass Taker. We have Turnbuckle Studios. Thank you, Carl, for jumping in. We greatly appreciate it each and every week for you jumping in here. Thank you very much. And make sure that everybody goes and checks out Turnbuckle Studios today. They had a great show talking about Vince McMahon potentially being ousted from all reports, seemingly completely ousted from creative right now, which means Triple H could potentially be in charge. If you want to know more, go definitely check that out. It was very, very fun. I'm sure the guys had a great time. It will be what I watch tomorrow as I get up in the morning and get myself working in the early morning. We got Mike the Ref saying, "Oh, I thought Taker would have rode shotgun with Baron Corbin. My bad. No, he did not come out for Baron Corbin, which would have made a lot more sense. But I liked it. I like what they did, but we'll get to it. We'll get to the end of the show. Because the first 30 minutes went commercial free, we're going to go ahead and throw our one and only commercial right here, right in the beginning. If you go to rogueenergy.com or you go ahead and scan that QR code right below Astrid, you can go ahead and get yourself some energy drink. Rogue Energy is a safe, sugar-free alternative to your favorite energy drink. They've got hydration drinks. They've got energy drinks. If you like it in a can, if you like it in a tub, they've got you covered, but you can only get the cans in the United States. So if you're one of our friends from the north of the border, go ahead and hit up myself or Ashford, and we'll go ahead and ship it to you for a monetary charge. I learned from Ted DiBiase. There's always a price.
Yeah, everybody has a price.
You can also now, official today, you can go ahead and download the Rogue Energy app to go ahead and do all of your Rogue Energy purchases, so you can make sure that you get that promo code OLEPODS into that order to get yourself your 10% off and help support the channel just a little bit. Another nice way for people to support us, but definitely go and check it out. They've got a free sample thing where you can get a couple of good flavors, 3 to be exact, for no cost other than shipping and handling. So you can get 3 little packets to go ahead and give it a try. See if you like it, see how it makes you feel, before you have to go ahead and invest $40 in a tub. No other energy drink's going to give you that benefit. So definitely go ahead and do that. Go get yourself a sample kit today and be able to go ahead and get ready for the next time that you need a kick when you've got 2 shows that you got to do in one day. Speaking of kicking off the show, Cody Rhodes, fresh off his team title win at Fastlane, still can't believe that Cody and Jay are saying yeet. My man Laser Beam would be happy, so Shout out to Lady and the word yeet. We got Chris Parrish in the chat. Hello, Mr. Parrish. Thank you for joining us. Or as we should call him now, Papa Parrish. Congratulations, my friend. All the best to you and Mrs. Parrish on the great and successful arrival of your little one. Cody opens up the show and he says, let's not sit here and talk all night. Men's breakout tournament is going to start after the women's breakout tournament finishes. Oh, you guys kept thinking I was going to be here for the Dusty Classic? Well, you know what? Fine. Let's have one of those too. And just before I go, he says, you know what? Shawn Michaels decided to take the night off and make me the guest GM of the night. And I thought that had some significance. A Rhodes being a GM in NXT. It hits right here. It's nice to. It was so great to see Cody in that black and white photo today, walking through the entrance ramp to get towards where they have their gorilla position. And there's the big photo of Dusty on the wall. It was so nice to see. I loved Cody here. I thought Cody did a great job. Ilja Dragunov comes out and he gives Cody all the respect. You're a fighting champion. You bring passion. You bring excitement. You bring energy wherever you go. He's like, this is what you do, and I want to be a champion like you. And I'm like, Ilja, when have you seen Cody be a champion for more than 24 hours? Like, I get it. Cody those things. But he's never done any of it as a champion here.
Mm-hmm.
But
I wonder what he's been watching.
I wonder what Ilja was watching. And honestly, Cody didn't do any of that in AEW. Trust me, I remember Cody stuff in AEW. Nobody liked it. Mm-hmm. Except the first one. The Dustin stuff was really good. Hey, it's me. It's Andre C. Andre C is super excited because we found out that there is going to be another New Japan Stardom crossover on Wrestle Kingdom 18, I believe. And the day of Wrestle Kingdom 18, at least day one of Wrestle Kingdom 18, they're going to have a special Stardom show that afternoon. All kinds of good stuff. For all of those highlights, go ahead and check out Andre and Melball. They'll have all those details in a new episode, probably sometime this week, I bet. They talk all about that. And if they don't talk about it there, I'm sure this one's going to talk about it on Friday with Mel if there's a ladies wrestling showcase.
Yeah, probably pre-recorded. There's a Taylor Swift Eras movie that I have to go to. Yes, sir. Next. Hey,
Go ahead and mute Astrid for the time being, as she is a Taylor Swift fan and all that entails. Dominic Mysterio comes out and tries to talk about anything, and the crowd doesn't want him here. They keep chanting for him to go home. They keep chanting for him to shut up. Mike the ref asks if it's a Kansas City game disguised as a movie. No, not anymore.
Sure.
Now that Travis Kelce's injured because Miss Taylor Swift.
Sure, it'll be a game.
Anyways, Dominic comes out and he tells Ilja, if you want to go ahead and, feel Cody's energy, go ahead and do what Cody did and see what it feels like to get beat up by Judgment Day. Ask him about that. I'm like, that wasn't bad. Good job. And then Ilja comes out and goes, look, nobody wants you here. Everybody wants you to shut up. Everybody wants you to go home. So leave. And, of course, Dom Mysterio wants no part of leaving. And he suggests that he should get a world championship match. Mind you, he just cheated to win back his North American championship that he lost just over a week ago. But now he thinks he deserves a shot at the big boy title. Cody's getting there, trying to get to something, and Rhea. Cody just suggests, well, Dom, you should put your North American title on the line. And Rhea's like, no, we're not doing that. Dominic just won this back. He doesn't have to go ahead and do that. You guys can go ahead and, deal with that another night. This is the time for the championship. And Ilja's like, fine, I'll take you on. And Cody's like, cool, we're going to have a special guest referee. Hell, a night. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this? What'd you think of this whole shebang that took place in about 12 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I tuned in a little bit later because of the stream, but It just felt random having Dragunov come in there more than anything. That part didn't make sense to me at first. I was like, I guess it's okay. You're the champion, so I guess you will speak up for the rest of the group.
Hot baby
But
face, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's like other than that, it's like I like the back and forth here. I feel like I would have liked it better. I'm like I know it wasn't gonna happen because it won't work out better if you know how to spell sheep. Just letting you know, Andre. But anyway, hello, Barry. But the part that I would have liked for me, I know it wouldn't happen because it's Judgment Day and they don't work out this way, but I would have been better having it for both championships. But obviously, that would have made Dragunov win the champion, the North American Championship. But still, was like seeing Dom was like, no, honey, you don't get a title shot. Why you, of all people? No. But either way, I think it was just a fun way to start. I would have preferred it if they started with a match rather than just with like a regular promo or like announcement to begin with, get the action picking up beforehand. But I'm glad this was short and sweet and it wasn't like it was last week that it dragged on for the two promos that we had.
I mean, it took 12 minutes, but it didn't feel like it took that long.
Yeah.
Cody's promo was kind of condensed, and then you had the two interruptions that didn't take a ton of time. And overall, it took about half that commercial-free segment, which isn't great, but at the end of the day, it accomplished getting across the big match. It accomplished getting across that Cody's in charge tonight and that Cody's going to be in a lot of segments throughout the night. And then it got across that we get LA Knight because you can't have a big show anymore, apparently, without LA Knight. Whoa, I figured you guys would. No, Andre. I talked about AEW once, and that was more than enough forever to talk about AEW.
Next time he'll tell you about his favorite Jay White. It's okay. It's a missed
Yeah,
opportunity.
Andre, that was this guy. Go ahead and watch his show. It'll be replaying on Backbreaker Media and Backbreaker Wrestling in about an hour and 35 minutes, if I know Mike correctly. And I think I do.
Mm-hmm.
Cena shows up in his fantastic... Oh.
I knew it. Thank you, Andre.
You know what? I think I said all I need to say about Jay White in the tweet that I retweeted from MJF a couple days ago. And if you haven't seen it, go on my Twitter, which you can find right there at edfries12584. You can go ahead and see exactly what I think of Jay White. Trust me, it's not good. Christian made enough of a burn of Judgment Day tonight. Christian is what it is. And we've got another wonderful raid. Thank you very much. NXT ruined Tony's birthday.
Wow.
They typically were going to go ahead and definitely try to ruin Tony's birthday today. We've got a fantastic raid from our friends at Get the Tables, bringing us 27 friends. Thank you all for joining us. This is our local establishment. For those who haven't been here, this is the place where we talk about all kinds of different things. Most of it's about wrestling, I'll be honest, which is what you guys are going to like. However, on Mondays, every other Monday, we have Paramindful, which is a spooky ooky type of show where they talk about ghosts and haunted stuff. It's fantastic, and they do it all year long. So definitely go ahead and check it out. We also host Marvel Talk here, where me and my teammate, my co-host and tag team partner, Andre C., go ahead and talk all things Marvel. Right now, we are in a weekly recap series of Loki Season 2, which you can catch this Saturday morning. No longer Saturday night. You can catch us this Saturday morning. To go ahead. You guys watched a wonderful episode of, I don't know if it was AEW or WWE or NXT over there on Tony's channel, so definitely go ahead and let us know what you guys were watching. Rip AEW, you died, so they sent the Undertaker to take care of the corpse. We've got Rockstar Cindy coming in saying, I watched NXT, so I know what happened. Well, that's great because we are here to talk about NXT. You guys watched both. Okay, there you go. You did the simulcast, the true simulcast. Man, Tony is a bigger man than I to be able to do both shows at once, because I don't know if I could have handled that. Barry Monkey, I did see you in the comments over there saying both. He had both on picture-in-picture. My goodness, I don't know how you handled that. John Cena showed up real quick backstage before we got the entrances of Roxanne and Asuka. And we thought that was going to be it. We thought we were going to get a match. And then out comes Shotzi Blackheart.
Yeah.
I did not have Shotzi on my bingo card for tonight. Did you?
No. We should have known when the spooky season was happening. That should have been our clue.
We do have our great friend Get the Tables jumping in and saying it wasn't easy. I can imagine it. I have a hard enough time doing watch-alongs with the one product I'm supposed to be watching, let alone two. We've got Robin saying, I'm sorry, Loki is carrying Marvel's TV series. WandaVision was the only other good show. Ooh. Check out Marvel Talk. We're gonna have a redo where we go through the entire MCU from start to finish coming up in the near future, where we're gonna go over a lot of those things. And no, I really liked a lot of the TV shows. They're not all great, but I haven't thought any of them were really that bad. Barry Monkey saying, never let Shotzi on commentary ever again. I agree. Shotzi's not the greatest commentator in the world, let's be honest. However, she did announce that her and Scarlett, the spooky ooky girls of WWE themselves with their own YouTube show, are going to be going ahead and hosting night 1 of Halloween Havoc. I thought it was clear that they're hosting night 1.
I was like, it makes me wonder if it's somebody else for night 2.
Isla Dawn is into the spooky ooky, and she was dressed as Chucky this week over at the Horror Nights over at Universal, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I think I saw on her Instagram. We've got Chris Best saying, good evening, folks. Good evening, Chris Best. AEW, lucky my goat Orton didn't show up on NXT, would have made them bankrupt. We got Blasphemous saying, Isla Dawn is so great. I agree. I cannot wait for the unholy alliance of my lovely ladies, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, to get back on main roster television. Asher, you're the women's wrestling expert here. Go ahead and talk us through a shorter match than we expected, but a no commercials match, which is better than most women's matches in WWE lately. Talk to us about Asuka versus Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, I'm glad this one was also like no commercial, even though it was shorter than I expected it to be. Like you said, I was hoping it would be a little bit longer, but either way, I felt like it was a great showcase for Roxanne, especially with somebody the caliber of Asuka. And this is one of those matches like automatically you think Asuka has to win it. I'm like, they're not gonna have Roxanne win over her when she was undefeated in NXT as a champion as well. So I know there's an asterisk in there. But either way, they had a great chemistry, and I really liked the match too. And I like even the sign of respect from Asuka at the end for Roxanne once the match was over as well. And once the match was over, we had Kiana going over there and attacking her as well. So we had Shotzi coming in for the save, and I like how she raised Roxanne's arm at the end as well after the victory. But overall, I like the match. I'm glad it was commercial free, because if it had been with commercials, I feel like it would have been picture in picture, and it wouldn't have been great to do like half of the match in picture in picture. But yeah, it was really great. I really glad that this is the opener match as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good use of. I thought this was going to be the way they opened the show. I thought they would open the show to this and then go into Cody. I thought that would have been a better way to do it. Have Cody come out as you have Asuka or Roxanne walk back. I thought that would have been a good way. And it showed us early that they're not utilizing these stars to make the NXT people feel small. They're except for one moment, and we'll get to that at the end of the show. They're using these stars to bring eyes to the product to then showcase the NXT talent. Whereas Asuka was the only main roster talent in action tonight. Well, except Dominic Mysterio, but as the North American champion, we expect him to be part of the NXT roster while he's here. But no, I like the fact that it was main roster talent comes down and doesn't just come there to bring eyes. They bring eyes to the product, and then they put over the talent as a secondary thing. It's not just, hey, we're here, party time. Like, nobody had just a backstage segment. Everybody had something to do with making another wrestler on the roster feel like a bigger deal. And Asuka did that here by by beating Roxanne and then going ahead and giving her the sign of respect. Roxanne's perfectly ready for the main roster. Absolutely 1,000%. I think Royal Rumble, she's main roster bound and she never comes back again. Would be my guess. Chris Best saying, I missed the first half of the show. BC up here had it aired in the streaming services, Sportsnet Now. But when I got to watch it, we all had color bars. Ooh, that's no fun. I had the show on here because Ashton was having a problem, so I had my Hulu on over here. So Ashton was able to watch it with the wonderful Hulu stream, which as you can tell, worked very well. Yeah. I think. You didn't tell me you had any issues with it, so I'm going to assume it worked well. We then have Gallus backstage getting ready for their pub rules match. We have the British Strong Style with Ridge backstage getting ready for their match. Butch. He might as well have been Pete Dunne tonight.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Telling Tyler Bate, I need the guy who main evented Chicago with me. I need the guy who tore the house down in the UK tournament with me. I need that guy. I don't need this new guy that's been around lately. And they all started singing banger after banger after banger, and off they went into a pubs rules match, which was, again, a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah.
Story of the night for these matches. There was a whole bunch of fun had. Not a lot of things that were memorable happened in any of these matches. Butch attempted to fake putting a dart through the hand of Joe Coffey. It looked really cheesy when Joe Coffey pulled his hand down the dartboard where you could see the dart in between his fingers. The best spot was the finish of the match. Tyler Bate takes the beer mug, probably candy glass because it's not real glass, bitch. You know, if you use real glass, you get suspended and you get somebody else fired, so you don't do that.
Cry me a river.
Yeah, cry him a river. But you go ahead and you took a beer mug to the head of Joe Coffey, and then they triple power bombed him through a table for the win.
Chef's kiss. I love the entrance too. Just seeing the three of them together, like not in a row, but like having Taylor in the front, but having all of them doing that. What he said, brawling brutes in the top. I was like, I love this picture. Can we have Tyler bring the brawling brutes from now on? Because I love the visual already. Don't mind me.
And remember, there are rumors that Sheamus's contract is coming up. There are rumors that Sheamus isn't re-signing his contract. So there's a potential that they're going to need a third for the Brawling Brutes, and Tyler Bate would fit in quite well. Barry Monkey, our resident British pub enthusiast, says British pub rules should have drunk girlfriends outside the ring shouting obscenities at each other. I don't know if any of them have girlfriends. Does Butch have a significant other? I don't know about I don't know. I'd have to do
Butch?
Yeah.
He has a daughter too, so I know he's at least married. He has a girlfriend or married.
You don't need either of those to have a kid. I can tell you that.
Well, you need somebody to have a kid. So, but I was going to say the obscenities part, the crowd had that covered, so we were fine.
Yeah. I sometimes I hate USA because USA is very touchy with the crowd's going to start chanting things and they can't have it on there.
Yeah, they tweeted about it.
It really sucks more for promos than it does for matches. Like, I don't mind it so much in matches, but I really hate it for promos. But this crowd was mic'd to the gills tonight. I think they had microphones everywhere and anywhere tonight because that little 250 people sounded like a good 20,000. They were loud tonight. And it wasn't pipe. You can tell the difference between piped in noise and real noise. It sounded real tonight. Ashton, I want you to go ahead and talk about the video package for Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch coming up at night 1 of Halloween Havoc.
I think my favorite part about this is, like, as we were kind of making fun in a way because of what we saw on Twitter, is that Lyra always tweeted about Sasha, not about Becky. So we were always wondering about the backstory between these two. And I love how they talk about Becky, they talk about Lyra, and then they talk about they're connected with each other, how they only met once before. And it's like, having the same dream, and then having Becky being the first Irish woman they sent to the baby, so giving Lyra that, that representation of, like, if she can do it, then I can do it too. So I really like that, the way they connected it, and even putting back the time of, like, when Becky was training with her, and they put the date was 2018, her coaching her and talking to her. So I really love that we're able to see that connection between them outside of NXT, because I had never seen it before. So it was really nice to see that, and have them connect back to, like, there's how they were separate, coming together, and now going to NXT and going towards the championship. I really loved it because I feel like even with having no Becky tonight to promote the show, I feel like this was a great package to give us what we needed to further that story as well. And I like how we transitioned from that to Lyra's interview backstage too. And even where she barely gets a couple words in, we get Tegan Dox coming in, who tells her, it's like, no, your title match is going to have to wait because I'm going to go back again. She's like, no, but you lost though. It's like, it was a great effort, but you lost. And seeing that back and forth between them, it just made me think, it was like, this is what I was hoping for. They would have some kind of mid-card title between the ladies, because I feel like all these ladies would have something on screen. And I'm glad that this is happening with Tegan now, because there's another one that I really have enjoyed since the Mae Young Classic. So to see her on screen and saying, look, I'm going to still be involved in this. So later on, it was confirmed we're going to get Lyra versus Tegan next week.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fun little match. And we even have, I believe, do we have a graphic for that one?
No, I didn't find that.
Yeah. NXT did not grace us with a graphic for that one. We do want to go ahead and thank Rob on the G for going ahead and following us here at our local establishment. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I thought the video package was nice. It did everything it needed to do. It sold us in the match. Lyra's not going to win, but it sold us on the match anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. She's not winning that match.
No, I know that.
I'd have more faith in Tegan Nox winning that match than I would right now about Lyra Valkyria winning that match. And then the promo was great because Lyra is basically just like F you to Tegan. She's like, no, you're not taking this away from me, especially not this easily. I'm having my match. I've earned it. We then get Cena heading to the ring, and then Cena comes out, and the crowd's not only just chanting, but they're singing his entire song, which he loved. He goes, I've never had this much street cred. He talks about how great the audience here is at NXT and how they make NXT. And he takes a few moments to put over the product, that it's about the people here. It's about the wrestlers, the people behind the scenes, and especially the audience here. The audience at Full Sail, the audience here at the PC, going ahead and making NXT what it was. And then he said a really great line that I really loved. We are SmackDown. We are Raw. But most importantly, all of us, we are NXT. And it brought back that little bit of that black and gold. And it brought back that feeling of we are NXT that we haven't had in a while. And a lot of people, a lot of the AEW fans who don't want NXT to do well tonight and things like that were like, look at all the stars they had to bring out to make people watch their show. They're not focusing on the talent that's there on a week-to-week basis. And to your point, you're kind of right. You're half right there, AEW fan. You are. They did bring people in to make you watch the show. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't cater to nostalgia to go ahead and put over older veterans over and over and over again and make the youngsters look bad. They took the veterans and nostalgia and history of the people that are in their business and made them feel like a big deal. Whereas on the other side, you had to go ahead and have title changes that don't make sense. You had to have shocking moments and things like you had to resort to tricks to make things happen that feel important. Whereas NXT just took main roster people and said, look at this. This is what you're going to see week in and week out. The main event here is two main NXT talents having a match with main roster people outside as a secondary part of the storyline, which I thought was key and I really enjoyed. And Astrid has gone ahead and done the looks, and we've got Lyra Valkyria versus Tegan Nox next week on NXT. Like I said, that'll be a fun match. I really enjoyed the Tegan Nox versus Becky match on Raw. Again, Becky is so clunky in the ring that it's hard to watch some of those matches. She's just not smooth. And I don't know if it was a lack of chemistry or not, but it was good, but I felt like it was missing something. I feel like Tegan can do better. And I feel like Becky was the problem. Q Parrish saying, I hate Irish people, yada yada, life goes on. After Cena goes ahead and says that NXT, the crowd is what makes NXT what they are, out comes Braun Breaker, or Badass Braun Breaker, or as I like to call him now, Bab. Bab comes out to the ring. And he says, they didn't come out here to see you, to which Cena gives the greatest response. Well, no, they can't. And he just keeps going. He knows better that he's learned from Roman Reigns. You don't stop and laugh at John Cena things because that's when John Cena tears you to shreds. He just kept going. Mm-hmm. Kudos to him. He learned from Roman Reigns. he keeps going with, they came here to see me. And Cena goes, yeah. We can see that you've got all the physical gifts. What your problem is your attitude. And I can fix that. But Cena said, you know what? I didn't come out here to run you down. I'm not out here to make you look bad, even though the crowd was chanting for it. Cena goes, no. I'm out here respectfully. Best of luck in your match tonight. Well, Braun Breaker's not a man of respect. Braun Breaker slaps him, goes ahead and gets ready to spear him, almost ends up in an AA, but gets away. What did you think of the John Cena segment here?
I did like that he used the crowd, but in a good way. He get that, oh, they're using my song, and then when they started going, oh, Bron is the one that stuck the chanting to the Cena song. He's like, oh, I heard this song before, but it's different now. I love him be able to use that crowd in that sort of way too, and I love when he said teachable moment, like the crowd definitely popped for that one too. It was like I really enjoyed that tidbit there, but yeah.
My little Andre Chase You heart was
I
all
know.
for that
I
one.
was so happy when I heard that. I was like, wait, I heard teachable moment. But I love having the back and forth between these two. It's a great way to elevate Braun. I was hoping from the moment, it's like, please don't spear him, and I'm glad it didn't happen. But we knew that that teaser from the attitude adjustment was definitely well done with the conversation they had in the promo as well. So it's something that I expected already to happen. But yeah, I feel like it was a good way to still promote the main event that we had later on.
And it's going ahead and it's putting Braun Breaker in a situation to rub elbows with a John Cena and feel like he belonged. Like, he didn't get eviscerated on the mic. And granted, John didn't take a whole lot of shots at him. Like, he kind of left. He went kids' gloves on Braun Breaker. But Braun held his own with his end of that promo. He didn't shit the bed like many have against John Cena in a promo. They didn't shit the bed. Like I said, he kept moving straight forward when John Cena tried to make him stop and get him off kilter. He just kept going. Speaking of keep going, we got Cody Rhodes. His night's going to keep going as he's walking backstage and he's meeting people. And he goes ahead and meets Tony D'Angelo and Stacks, the NXT Tag Team Champions. And they want new challengers. And they've got a visionary idea for a match. By the way, Impact's already done this match a bunch of times. They've done it in really shitty ways, but they've done this match multiple times. And what they envision, if you picture this, timeless Toni Storm telling the story. She's the only good thing about AEW right now. Timeless Toni Storm. She's fantastic. Yes, the only good thing on that programming. Anyways, 10 teams. If one member of your team is eliminated, both of you are eliminated. And when you get down to the last two teams, the bell rings again, and now we have a tag team match. And the winner of that tag team match goes ahead and faces Tony D'Angelo and Stacks on night one of NXT's Halloween Havoc. It's a lot of things on night one. What's taking place on night two?
I was thinking that too. I was like, are we going to leave everything for the first week and not do anything the second one?
Like, so far, Becky versus Lyra is set for week one. We're having a tag team title match week one. We're going to go ahead and spoil something here. Later on the night, next week, we're getting a number one contenders match between Dijak, Baron Corbin, and Carmelo Hayes and or Braun Breaker to have the number one contendership for Ilja Dragunov. Guess what? Night one of Halloween Havoc. I don't know what they're going to do for night two. I've got no clue what's going on night two.
I would just say Halloween Havoc and not say night one or night two until like a little bit later on, until like, okay, we feel like we could do this for night one, then we could do this for night two, but not mention the night yet because I feel like they might end up changing it.
We got Barry Monkey saying, yeah, it used to be like Impact until Jay White.
Thank you, Barry. Good
Jay
job.
White was there too, wasn't he? Shit. Impact sucks too.
No, it does not.
No, it doesn't. But remember, so by the way, the thing that Impact did like this Battle Royal that they used to do like this is the reverse Battle Royal, by the way. So just so we're clear. The reverse Battle Royal is essentially what they did here. But Cody goes ahead and says, you know what? Even better. I like the idea of the gimmick. It's all on. But I'm going to give it a name. The Bada Bing, Bada Boom Battle Royal. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense. Later on the night, we get a confirmation of the 10 teams that are going to be in this match, and we've got them right here. We've got JBBJ taking on Chase U, taking on Gallus, taking on Charlie in the Chocolate Factory and Drew Gulak, taking on OTM, taking on the Creeds, taking on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, taking on Tank and Hank, taking on Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Wait, who's that? Damon Kemp and Miles? Are you serious? You couldn't find a 10th tag team? You put these two in there? I'll be honest. I was hoping that the 10th team, because when Cody was coming out and saying they were going to have a Dusty Classic and things like that, there's a specific team that I wanted to be announced for something like this. They're a great team. People love them, but right now people are, all excited about them. I wanted to see the Street Profits in this. I thought it would have made a lot of sense to have the Street Profits in that 10-team tag team match. I think that would have done big money. It's a version of Impact Gauntlet match. It's weird. Impact does weird matches, but then again, Dusty was there. Most of these matches come from the mind of Dusty Rhodes in some way, shape, or form. So it makes sense that it would be Cody pitching a lot of these.
Yeah, I love that they mentioned that too, because as they were doing the pitch, he's like, that sounds like something like my dad would have done, kind of thing. And I was like, I love what he said that too.
So if you give Cody the smallest inkling to talk about his dad, he's going to. I'm surprised he didn't cry. And yes, CBRS Entertainment saying the reverse battle royal, anybody? Yes. That was a Vince Russo idea, but it was definitely heavily inspired by Dusty Rhodes. Baron Corbin cuts a backstage promo here talking about how he hates how things are going tonight, yada, yada. I didn't listen. Did you listen to anything Baron Corbin said?
Yeah, it's just the same stuff. And it's like he wants to shock because he's the last guy that beat Dragunov before he was champion. So it's like I got a case for myself here. But we'll see how that goes.
But more important news, LA Knight's coming to the ring. He's still got his vest on. He's got his jeans on. I swear, they told LA Knight, look, we have to have you here. Do I have to dress like I'm supposed to dress? No. We don't care how you come. Just come to the arena. He's like, all right, cool. I'll come to the arena. Dominic Mysterio versus Ilja Dragunov. Asher, why don't you go ahead and talk about the NXT Championship match between Dom and Ilja?
I think my favorite part about this is I think this is one of my favorite Dom matches to think about. I like the back and forth they had here because it wasn't just like Dragunov taking over and it wasn't Dom taking over as a main roster talent, to put it that way. They had a really good back and forth in here. And I love that part of even LA Knight is not, he still gets one of those real distractions, even him being the referee, doesn't get away from that. So I like that he tries to do the she distracts him. And even we had that moment of Dragon not even lifting Dom in the crowd, like the reaction to that was amazing too. And just when you think it's a Judgment Day match, it's just waiting for that moment. It's like, when's everybody else gonna come out? Because Rhea was the only one out here. But, we have Ballard coming in. We had JD arriving as well. And I like how LA Knight just no, we're not doing this here. Even him with the referee, he just takes care of Ballard and even JD there. And then Rhea goes to hit Dragunov with the championship. And then she gets pulled by Trick, and Trick ends up with mommy his arms for a couple seconds there as well. But I'm sure a lot of people would have wished they were Trick in that moment.
I think I don't want to even say half the world, because honestly, there's as many women who want Rhea as there are men who want Rhea, let's be honest.
Yeah, but overall, I feel like it was a good match too. I think it's one of the best Dom matches I've seen, and I like how it was with Dragunov, and it was I didn't mind the way it happened, and notably missing was Damian Priest. So
yeah, no, I thought it was a really good match. I really liked how Dragunov carried the match. I like how Dom kept up. It didn't seem like either one of them was gonna be the one that laid an egg. We got our wonderful friend STG 2012. I will neither confirm nor deny the Rhea comment. Trust me, I've seen the Twitter mentions and I've seen the Rhea people on my timeline. Both men and women want Rhea. Hell, Rhea wants both men and women. If you watch, she wants Samantha Irvin from Ricochet, as far as I know. She wants Kathy Kelly. She wants Jey Uso. She wants the Usi. I mean, she wants everybody. Doesn't matter to her. She'll take everybody. Rhea's fantastic. I love Rhea to death. She's great. Rhea locked down now. Buddy moved in. Yeah, but Buddy did not take... By the way, can we talk about how Buddy Murphy might be one of the luckiest SOBs in the world? He's been able to be in a relationship with both Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley. Sorry. Sidetracked. Anyways, Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio was fantastic in this match. He did everything he needed to do. Nothing more, nothing less. LA Knight did exactly what he was supposed to do. He was invisible. Like, other than being LA Knight and seeing LA Knight, he wasn't part of the match in any way, shape, or form until the very end when Balor came out and he knocked, like you said, knocked Balor off the apron. When JD got knocked down by Ilja Dragunov, he gives JD the blunt force trauma. But again, perfectly acceptable. He's not attacking either of the in-ring competitors. He's just attacking Judgment Day, who's trying to make the save. Perfect. It did everything it needed to do. It put Trick right back into that North American title picture. Fantastic. Speaking of Trick, when we come back from the commercial break, we've got John Cena and Carmelo Hayes talking about things. They're talking about how great, it is to have Cena here and how Melo's excited. Trick comes in. He's all excited. They start talking about their own drama, and they're like, no, hold on. We'll do this another time when Cena's not here. And Cena has another great line. You guys can see me? And they stop. And I loved it. The moment they just stop and look at each other and then look at him. It's like, I'm just messing with you guys. It's all right. Melo says something very interesting, and damn you, Mark, damn you to hell. After I work with Cena here, Trick, me and you, we're going to go ahead and get my NXT championship back. Space, pause, ... Oh, and yours too. It took him an awfully long time to get back to Trick winning that North American championship, didn't it?
Oh, and another point too, after Dragunov won, we had Dijak attacking him, and Baron Corbin was the last person to come out, and he's like, I kind of beat you to it too about attacking him.
I did forget about that. Thank you for reminding me, because it does set up the match that we need to talk about later. Yep. After Carmelo Hayes leaves to get ready to go out to make his entrance for get ready for his match, Trick grabs Cena and he's like, when did you know it was your time? Cena goes, let's go talk. Mm-hmm. And I love that Cena's not only here for Carmelo, he was there to Trick too. He was there for Trick, and he's giving Trick advice. It makes Trick feel like a big deal because Trick is super over right now. So just bringing a little, like John Cena with Undertaker, where Undertaker walked backstage and all it took was a handshake. Hey, I'm the Undertaker. That's all it took to sprinkle a little bit of Undertaker dust on John Cena. You do the same thing here with Trick Williams. It's nothing important. It's just, hey, let's go have a conversation. But it makes Trick feel important because he's worth the time of John Cena. So that means he must be worth our time. We then get my least favorite part of the episode, one of Astrid's favorite parts. Jade Cargill shows up in the Impact Zone. I mean, the WWE, the PC. No, she's tough enough. She's a bad enough bitch that she doesn't get attacked in the parking lot.
Hey, she survived it twice now.
Well, no, but the other parking lot was WWE. That doesn't matter.
No, remember the social media video when she's arriving to the PC.
Oh, that's true. Okay, she has been.
That's the second time she survived.
Just wait, Jade. Just wait.
Let's see how long it goes.
Where we get the entrance of Lola Vice, and we're going to get ready to have the entrance of Danny Palmer. But first, when we come back from the commercial break, Baron Corbin's talking to Cody Rhodes, and he's like, "You owe me." Do you have any idea what the hell Baron Corbin's talking about?
I was wondering that too when he said "you owe me." I was thinking, it's like, when was the last time these two were on screen together? I couldn't think about it, and I kept trying to think. It's like, what did they do together? And I was like, it hasn't been the last few months because Baron has been a free agent for a little bit now, mostly in NXT at this time. And I was like, what the heck is he talking about? I don't know.
He even mentioned it. I didn't write it down, but he mentioned something. Yeah. And I'm like, I have no recollection of this.
Oh, he said, last time we saw each other, you jumped me from behind. And then he was like, kind of like, I get that, like it happened. And then he says, I'm the last guy to beat Dragunov. And that's when Cody's like, you have a case. And then Dijak has a case, so we'll make it that three-way. But then I kept thinking, I was like, that what he said, I was thinking visually. When did Cody jump him? It was like,
I
I
was going
don't
to say,
remember
when did
this.
Cody Rhodes jump anybody? That
I
doesn't
was like,
sound like Cody
that sounds like a
Rhodes.
heel thing, not a Cody thing. So I was like, that doesn't make sense. And like he nodded as if like he understood as if that happened, like barely acknowledging that it happened. I was like, I'm gonna have to go on YouTube and try to find this clip if it happened. He's like, when does Cody attack anybody from behind or jump anybody? I don't know.
But it does set up this match right here, which is going to be taking place next week, when it's going to be NXT minus all the big name main roster people, where it's going to be Dijak versus Corbin versus the winner of the main event, Carmelo Hayes or Braun Breaker. If you've already watched the show, you know. For those that don't, we'll get there in just a little bit. But first, after we have that, we have JBBJ, Nathan Frazier, Axiom, Dante Chen, and Miss Big Body Javi herself, Tatum Paxley, backstage as Dom is coming back there bitching, whining about something. And you know what? And that Nathan Frazier's like, look, man, none of us want you to be the North American champion, and one of us is going to take it away from you. And I'm like, oh, Nathan Frazier's in the North American title picture. Great.
Don't be a hater.
Oh, I'm not. I'm excited because at least it means he's away from Noam Dar.
That sounded very sarcastic.
Well, I mean, I would rather it be Axiom, but it is what it is.
It almost sounds like when I say sure, that's what it sounded like.
Also, before this, we did have the NXT Anonymous segment that was posted on Twitter today that confirmed what I've been saying since No Mercy, which is that we have Paul Heyman backstage, the door's closed so he can't hear it, but he has a picture of the word bloodline on his phone, and he's talking to Ava. Please, Ava in the bloodline, please. I want this. I really, really want this. I think it'd be good for her.
My favorite part is when he's pointing at his phone, like it says it here. This, you see it? It's like pointing at it in an angle that like this, so you can see it from the camera that the Anonymous is pointing at. It's like this.
Paul
awesome,
Heyman, not the most subtle man in the world, but thank you, Paul, for at least letting us know what we're looking at. That at least makes a little bit more sense. Lola Vice then beats Dani Palmer. That's the entirety of my notes in this match. The only other note I have is, Astrid, you didn't answer my question when I asked it in the chat, so I'm going to ask it to you here. Did Lola Vice kick her in the you-know-wheres when Dani was jumping and they said she kicked her in the stomach?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was pretty low the way she did. I don't think so. I was like, I thought it was odd too, because usually when they do kick each other like that, they say, "Oh, it's a kick to the midsection." That's all I hear. I don't hear stomach often. So when they say stomach, I was like, that sounds kind of weird for them to say that on commentary. But I definitely want to rewatch that a little bit later tomorrow and see, because it definitely felt like it was a little bit lower than the stomach for sure. I'm not sure, but definitely looked that way. Yeah.
Or, as Taz would say, the yam bags, even though she doesn't have a yam bag. Thank you, Taz. Another reason why AEW is impossible to watch. Anyways, do you have any other thoughts on, as STG says, the family jewels? There are no jewels in that family. Dani Palmer has no jewels. She is jewel free.
No, I like that this was like, I know this was gonna end up being Lola winning at the end, but I feel like they had a good back and forth. Like if there was a strike here and a kick over there, and then Dani has so many moves that she brings out of nowhere and she reverses, and I like that she brought that in here too. It was just I'm thinking just a matter of time until Lola wins it. But I feel like either way, it was fun. Even knowing how it was gonna end, it was fun. Like the match in itself. And we had Electra at ringside, which I'm surprised she didn't do anything. But at the same time, I'm glad she did it, because it really shows like Lola could do it on her own already, which is nice to see. But
we got Barry saying something almost nice about Lola Vice. Vice wasn't terrible.
Almost nice.
The best thing I can say about this match is, on the biggest stage that NXT has, with all these viewers here, they still decided to go through with the women's breakout tournament match. Now, mind you, they picked the two most ready competitors in this match to have this match. And it was okay. Like I say, my notes are literally Lola beats Dani. But in the extent of it, that's really all that happened. Like, it was a 4 or 5 minute match. There wasn't a whole lot to it. Neither woman shined, but neither woman did anything terrible. It was a run-in-the-mill match. It didn't take long, but it was unoffensive, if that makes any sense.
Plus, it was happening at the same time as the women's match in AEW because it was 9:30 as usual. So,
well, it's 9:30. You know what that means.
Yeah.
We then get a Chase U segment where Andre Chase is trying to go ahead and teach his class about Halloween Havoc's history. And Thea Hale comes in and she says, JC told me I have to come back to class. Well, I told her I'd only come back if she came back, if she came with me. So the two of them are there, and Andre's trying to teach his class, and they're chit-chatting, and Andre breaks it up. And they're talking some more, and JC looks at her phone, and she sees something, and she shows it to Tia. And then everybody else starts looking at their phone and chatting, and Andre gets pissed. But he knows he can't yell at JC because it's going to upset Thea. So he picks on poor David in the corner. And he's yelling and screaming at David, and he takes David's phone, and he throws it against the wall. By the way, that was a weird wall because it felt like the wall kind of swallowed the phone as opposed to the phone like
right. I was about to say I saw the line and then I'm like, did it go through or did it land on the floor? But there's like a weird like thing on the wall as it.
It was like a rubber wall that the phone swallowed into like soundproof foam. Either way, he's like JC, and he gets ready to start going off on JC. You know, what's so important? Why are you guys doing this? And he's like, I just thought you'd want to know that you and Duke are in the tag team match next week. You know, we're all working together and we're all doing so nice. I figured it would be nice for you to go ahead and have this wonderful moment. And everybody's cheering for Andre, and him and Duke are all excited. And JC's trying to worm her way into this to seem like the good guy. She's not. She's the bad girl. She's the bad guy.
I love her facial expression though, but she's like, yeah, we got along so well last week and everything went well. She smiles at him and she goes, I was like, I love the timing of that. It was really well done too.
The snake oil salesman herself that is JC Jane. It's fantastic. But again, it's another women's segment on this show. So we've had the women's match commercial free to basically end the half hour. We had Jade Cargill showing up, which definitely counts as a segment featuring the women. Mm-hmm. We then had the women's breakout tournament match. We have this, which is solely focused on Duke and Andre, but also on the dynamic of Thea Hale and her character involvement in keeping JC Jane on television where she needs to be.
Plus, we had the Lyra Becky package that went to the Lyra Tegan interview. Mm-hmm.
And then after this, later on in the show, I'm going to put it in here now, we have Asuka backstage making friends with Kiana, talking nice with Kiana. And Kiana walks away, and Blair Davenport comes up and apparently has forgotten almost all the Japanese she knows because she butchers her way through basic conversation with Asuka. Most of which I don't think was correct. Like, I don't think kitty is a word in Japanese, but maybe it is. I don't know. Anyways, she goes ahead and walks away. In comes Kalani Jordan, who seems like she's looking at God herself. And she's like, hi. It's just Asuka, Kalani. Come on. It's not like you're looking at Trish Stratus. It's just Asuka. She's great, but it's just Asuka.
I like how she does it, shakes her hand and just leaves. I'm like, oh, that's it? Okay.
And then Fallon Henley's getting ready to talk to Asuka, and in comes the one, the only. We still have the graphic.
All I have to say now is it's Tiffy time.
I'm going to get every chance I use to use that graphic because it's going to go away soon enough, I know. Anyways, Tiffany Stratton comes in there, and she's talking to Asuka, and she introduces herself. And it was fun. It made me want to see Tiffany Stratton versus Asuka. I'm telling you. I think that'd be a fun match to watch.
I think we're getting Tiffany versus Fallon either this week or the week after.
Yeah, I'm less enthused for Tiffany versus Fallon, I'll be honest.
No.
I'm much more interested in Tiffany versus Asuka.
I like how she keeps talking to Asuka so many things. Asuka's just there like, sure, whatever you just said. She
and
doesn't look interested.
As soon as she stops talking, Asuka walks away. She's like,
It
as
was so
soon as I can
awkward.
get out of here, I'm going.
Yeah.
But that's perfect because Tiffany Stratton would think that she's so important that she just goes in and talks to people and they give a shit. Like, it's perfectly character driven, and I love it to death. And then Fallon's like, you can't do this, you know, what I was about to talk. And she's like, yeah, Daddy taught me that I don't have to deal with people like you. People like you are
Oh,
beneath me.
I
No
love the
good thing.
timing of this with the interview part where she's like, Daddy didn't teach you any manners. And I was like, here we go with the daddy part again, huh? Huh?
Oh, we're going to get Christian Cage out here talking about how she doesn't have a daddy. It's going to come soon enough.
Yeah.
It was a fun segment. It did what it needed to do. It featured more women to put the women on a higher stage, and just putting them there with Asuka made a whole lot of sense. It was great. We get badass Braun Breaker backstage with Paul Heyman, where Paul Heyman's hyping him up. And Breaker says, it doesn't matter if it's John Cena, if it's Carmelo Hayes. It sounds like he's about to say Roman Reigns, and he stops himself and he says, anybody else in my way, I'm going to go through them all.
I don't,
And I'm like,
my
oh,
favorite,
tonight. Good.
my favorite part about this where he goes, Braun, and then you kind of feel like that Brock Lesnar is coming up, and then he says Braun Breaker, and then he's like, I worked with your father and your uncle, and it's like, you're like a great combination of them, as he's like hyping him up in such a way. It was like, I was not expecting that, but it was nice to see him and do this. And he's like, and then when he leaves, he's like, call Roman Reigns.
I like it though. It's another way to use the main event star Paul Heyman to make Braun Breaker feel like a bigger deal. You take the ability of Paul Heyman to get people over, and you put that heat onto Braun Breaker. It's exactly what they needed to do tonight with these people. If you're gonna bring out all these big names, it's not about putting them all in matches and having them squash talent. It's about making them feel important next to all of these superstars.
Yeah, I think my other favorite part, it just reminded me of what we said with Kate, and Kate is the one that brought up in our show too about having Heyman with Braun Breaker and Cena. So I was like, darn you, darn you, Kate, and now it's your turn.
And then we get to my favorite part of the night. Something I didn't think I was going to like. Yesterday, everybody started reporting that the name of Brian Pillman Jr.'s character was going to be Lexus King. And I'll be honest, I was a very unhappy camper. I didn't believe it. I didn't like it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I had to turn off the AC. It's getting cold in here. I didn't like it. And then they had this promo. And I am 1,000% sold on this character. I am 1,000% sold on Lexus King being the correct direction for Brian Pillman Jr.'s character. He comes out here and he talks and he's like, you know what? Everybody talks about how they loved my dad. And they show the footage of Brian Pillman Jr. And they have Bruce Pritchard and other people talking about how he's a loose cannon, how he's a lunatic. All the words they used to talk about when they talked about Brian Pillman in the 90s. And then Brian Pillman unfortunately passed away, and we lost him 26 years ago, ironically, because there's a tweet out from Brian Pillman Jr. talking about this, what we're talking about here. And he goes, everybody talks about how great my dad was and how they loved my dad. They have all these memories of my dad. Well, you know who doesn't have memories of my dad? Me. Because he died when I was 4 years old. So I'm not coming here as Brian Pillman's son. I'm nobody's junior. I'm coming here and I'm honoring my father, the man who raised me, King. And I loved that. It set the stage that no matter what you think of the show and no matter what you think of the name, it makes sense now as to why they're going this direction. And again, you can love it or you can hate it as to if you think it's the right direction, if it's the right thing to do. But at least they've given it a reason. It makes sense. It's character driven. They're embracing the Brian Pillman aspect but they're taking it and shoving it into a trash can to let him, as he says, be himself. I don't want them to see him. I want them to see me. Fantastic. I'm sold. I'm 1,000% behind this character. By the way, I also totally think he's coming in as a heel.
Yeah.
This promo,
Definitely.
it firmly plants him as a heel, right?
It really does.
We've got Dar Amazing coming in. Hello, Dar Amazing. Welcome. We have Chris Best saying, as I said on Turnbuckle Talk tonight, it distanced Pillman Jr. from his dad. Yes. And I originally thought that was going to be a bad thing because the biggest selling point of having Brian Pillman Jr. is the name Pillman. However, if you're going to do that in a way that you're going to take Brian Pillman and use that to fuel a negative reaction for the character of Brian Pillman Jr., for Lexis King, then it makes perfect sense. And for those questioning, well, then why Lexus if we know why King? The fact that it's his mother's remarried name. The name Lexus comes from his sister Alexis, who died in a car accident. So he's honoring his sister. This is also a name he's used on the indies apparently a couple of times before he ended up in AEW, where he was Brian Pillman Jr. Barry Monkey saying Dominic Pillman and Breaker is a faction of bitter wrestling children. That could be fun. Two guys who can talk and a guy who can't might not be a bad idea. What did you think of this promo, though, from Lexis King?
Yeah, just like I was telling you before we started the show, I remember when this was posted in our Slack, because we have a chat that we all talk about the wrestling stuff, whatever happens. So I don't know who posted it. I don't remember, to be honest. But I like how it was funny how it was posted first and we're like, we don't like it. We had a civil back and forth of like, oh, I don't like it because it is distancing from being a Pillman, which is what my thoughts were when I showed Edit the report. I kept thinking, to me, it didn't make sense, and I was waiting to see what the backstory was going to be, because I kept thinking, if you have noticed the vignettes before, even tonight, he's watching second generation superstar. He's watching Charlotte and the Usos. He's watching Randy. He's watching Dominic. And you see him watching all these people that obviously have a legacy within wrestling. It's like, so how come he's not Pillman when he's watching the people that have legacy just like he has? So I like how I feel like today was one of those ones like NXT went, it's not Tuesday yet. Give us a moment and we'll explain to you why the name is what it is before you draw conclusions. And it just makes me think of like, we see things posted and then we don't wait until the day of the show because things could be explained anytime. And we just went right for it. Even myself, just thinking about it like overall. So it's like we went and was like, oh, we hate it. And that was it. But then I was not expecting the explanation tonight. And I'm glad we got it tonight before he debuted in, when he does. But to see him come in here and say, I want to distance myself from the name. I didn't have the quote because Denise Salcedo posted it, so I had the credit to her. But I definitely me being the writer, I focus on the quotes, people. I'm sorry, but I love how he said, "This industry has been in my blood since birth, and I can never escape it. I got no choice but to embrace it. I have no choice but to inflict pain on the very business that has brought me so much grief. But when they see this face, I don't want them to think about my dead father. I wanted to think about me. I'm nobody's junior, and from this day forward, I'm going to take on the last name of the real man who raised me, the real father figure in my life. His name was King, and so is mine." So they think about, like, we get that explanation. He's like, he doesn't want to be his father. He wants to be his own person. I was like, this is something that I would have liked to see when Charlotte arrived in NXT, because all she was told is that you can't be a player, but there was nothing else to it. But at the same time, you knew she was a player because of how she was in the ring. But I'm glad to see this backstory to him, and it just shows how NXT does so well with their character, especially lately. They give us a backstory, they give us a character, they give us so many details to it, and I love seeing that. So it's like, just seeing him do this, I was like, holy crap, I'm invested. Like, I want to see what he does now, because I want to see how he kind of goes by his dad, but he is different at the same time. And I love seeing this, and I love the explanation, and it was really well done. It made a lot of more sense now that we're able to hear it coming from him. But overall, I enjoyed this. It's definitely like also one of I think my favorite part of the night was definitely this one too. Being able to hear this backstory like from himself, and it's like, now I get it. Keep going with it. So I definitely loved it, and I can't wait to hear more from him about talking more about his backstory too, because it intrigued me already.
And it doesn't stop there. On Twitter tonight after the promo airs, 26 years ago, my father was buried. and tonight I buried his last name. I will no longer be known as the lost son living in his father's shadow. I will forge my own path and stop at nothing until I am the king of NXT. Fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. He is a winner right out of the gate. And you can say NXT name generator all you want. And trust me, NXT name generator has given us a ton of shitty names. This isn't one of them. This is a precision picked name. This name isn't just, oh, they picked the name and they're using it. This surely came from him. Whether that was NXT saying they wanted to distance him and they had to come up with something, so he's come with something that works for him, or if this is something he came to them and goes, this is what I want to do. And this isn't the first time that a second generation star has come to WWE and been like, look, I don't want to use my famous father's last name. It's not only happened for Ava. Everybody's going to say, oh, well, it's Ava. Ava's done it, where she changed her name. There's another big one that people are forgetting. The genesis of McGillicuddy. Yeah. Michael McGillicuddy in NXT The Game Show came in as a McGillicuddy because he didn't want to go under the name Hennig.
Yeah, and even Bron Breakker too. It's like that, that if you think about it, we see him on a weekly basis. He doesn't use his family's name. They reference it, and obviously they mention it's like, oh, your father, your uncle, but his name doesn't have anything to do with the family, ironically.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse. It's a little bit more unproblematic for Bron Breakker, considering they want to do that. But I like, again, we've talked it to death. I love the way that they chose to do it here. Made all the sense in the world. And then, of course, we get the main event. John Cena comes out for 30 seconds to his own music before Carmelo's music plays. And we get that great Carmelo Hayes entrance, and he comes out. And then out comes Paul Heyman doing his typical Paul Heyman shtick. My name. And the crowd chants Paul Heyman. He's like, no, your name's not Paul Heyman. My name is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And he does the Bron. And I kept expecting Brock. I kept expecting Brock Lesnar to
I'm telling you, since the locker room backstage when he said it, I was like, that sounds too similar. I can't do it.
But he nailed it, the Bron Breakker.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a fun match. Is it as good as the match that I saw at Battleground? No. It was a lesser than their biggest match. It was a good match. It did what it needed to do. But it was a match that was clearly planned out for television. It was a match that did exactly what it needed to do. It got Carmelo Hayes over. And Bron Breakker, again, continuing storylines, continuing telling stories. Bron Breakker grabs the stairs to go ahead and use the stairs. And for a split second, you hear Vic Joseph say, you know what happened last time we saw Bron Breakker with stairs. Thank you, Vic. Great little drop in there to make sure we don't forget about Von Wagner. And then Cena comes over and he grabs the stairs away. And then weirdly, he kicks him in the shin. But it's a pivotal piece because out comes Solo Sikoa running out to attack John Cena. And the reason why Cena kicks Bron Breakker, as we have, never forget Von Wagner. Yes. And Dar Amazing also says, what if someone in the crowd was actually named Paul Heyman? That would have been funny. Anyways, the reason why he has to kick Bron Breakker in the shin is to give us a logical reason why Bron Breakker doesn't go after Cena when Solo attacks to make it a 2-on-1. But Cena and Solo brawl the brack. They go away. They're not part of the finish, which is great. Paul Heyman goes with them because he's following with Solo Sikoa. Carmelo Hayes goes to the top. Bron Breakker, for some reason, stands up full-fledged and then gets back down for the nothing but net, which was a little bit of a botch on the finish, I think. However, he hits it 1, 2, 3. As soon as Bello gets up to celebrate the win, boom, he's hit with a spear. Big-ass spear from Bron Breakker. Really good. By the way, the one thing Breakker does really well, he has the best spear in the business right now. He really... I know it's his thing. He talks about how he has the best. He really does. It's phenomenal, that spear that he does. It has the power of an old, like legacy Goldberg spear from his early days in WCW, but it's got that out of nowhere feel like a Randy Orton RKO.
Yeah, that's true.
I love it. It's fantastic. And he cuts up and he says, "I'm the biggest badass in this building." Dong. Out comes badass Undertaker, the American badass Undertaker, motorcycle and all, comes out to the ring, and he's like, "Bron, one of these days you're going to be a big star in this business." And Breaker's like, yeah, I am. And the best part is Braun's looking up to Taker. As big as Bron Breakker is, he still has to look up to Undertaker, which is perfect for this. Because Undertaker then just tilts his head down and goes, "But that day's not today, boy."
I love that response.
My little nostalgia heart, I don't want to see The Undertaker wrestle again. And I had a fear that it was going to lead to Bron Breakker versus Undertaker. And I was worried about that, but I don't think we're going there. But my little nostalgia heart with The Undertaker chokeslamming Bron Breakker, and Bron just lying there, and Taker looking down at him and goes, "Remember, boy, there's always an older, bigger, badder badass in the back. And you just met the biggest." And the music hits, and Carmelo Hayes stands there with The Undertaker, and Carmelo Hayes looks like Undertaker's little child. Wrong race, but he looks like Undertaker's lost little child from some kind of a fling. Did you see how small he looked compared to Undertaker? Oh, it was great. I think he did say there was a wiser dog. I believe wiser was one of the words. I don't recall exactly. I know bigger, badder were in there. I think it might have been wiser. I know older was in there. Either way, it was fantastic. It was a perfect use of The Undertaker. What did you think of the main event match and The Undertaker's involvement?
Yeah, just like you, I feel like the vibes are not the same with this match between Carmelo and Braun. But again, it was mostly to set up the ending in itself, and this, Cena being there and Solo being there and Heyman too. So it just made sense the way it was played out more than anything. Having Taker, I almost forgot Taker was advertised. And I remember while the match was happening, I kept thinking the match is over, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot Taker still hasn't happened." So I was like, "I wonder what's his reason to come out." And what he did, I was like, "I see you." He said the words "badass." Is that those were your clue words, and that's why you had to come out. I love the part of everybody like laughing that he came with a motorcycle, so that way the entrance wouldn't take as long as it usually does. And as you pointed out too, and like I kept looking at him like Booker T almost in tears because he saw Taker. I don't know why, that was super random.
So weird. Booker T's like a child about to like cry, and I'm like,
I seen out the Taker for the
Booker,
first
you
time.
worked with him.
I know. He acted like he hadn't seen him in his life before. It was strange to me at the same time. But he looked at him with like not only tears but like some kind of admiration as well. I just thought it was funny at the same time. But either way, that choke slam looked incredible. The selling from Braun too, like everything was really well done. I figured it's probably not gonna be the match, but still, like even just a second in itself was really well done. Oh yeah,
And
he
again,
did.
it's a nice way to go ahead and use The Undertaker to go ahead and put over Bron Breakker. Like, and before you say, "Oh, well, it's different because Bron Breakker, got chokeslammed by The Undertaker." Well, yeah, but we've been doing that for, years upon years, where old vets come in and they hit their one big move to go ahead and put over a younger star just to have that limelight. And that's all it needed. Like, you could put Bron Breakker down with a chokeslam. It's going to be okay. Dar Amazing says, "I remember Booker and Undertaker had a little feud in 2004. I mean, yeah. I mean, Undertaker was the man back then when Booker was still wrestling. It was fantastic. I mean, yeah, Dar Amazing says it. Example, the Stunner. Sweet Chin Music, the Stunner, a Pedigree, Randy Orton's Punt. Like, thousands of people have come back and you do things with people. Now, granted, Randy Orton's is kind of a reversal where Randy Orton's going ahead and punting older people. Randy Orton would have a field day if he got to go to AEW for a couple weeks. All those old WWE guys that could just punt in the head. Anyways, no, NXT Mania was fantastic tonight. I thought they did a really good job of utilizing the veterans to make the younger current stars of today feel important. We're going to get a big number from this. My question is, how many people stay next week? When we don't have Cody, when we don't have Cena, how many people stay? Do you think they hit the massive 1 million mark? I don't think they do. What about you?
I don't think so. I think it'll be definitely a high number. And like you said, I think it will be everybody comparing it next week when the numbers are not going to be exactly the same as it is this week. But still, my heart, even though I like both products, I'm hoping still NXT is the one that gets, most of the audience during this. I feel like they used everybody really well tonight. And it wasn't really random because I've seen a lot of comments. It's like, oh, it seems kind of random the way it was tonight. To me, it isn't because they've been using main roster stars, especially lately, to lift up the younger talent. So it's nothing new there. But I'm hoping NXT takes the victory, and that way Dynamite goes, we'll go back to ones and see, we won't do this again. But it was fun anyway.
Yeah, and for those that want to sit here and go, well, they needed the big stars to win the night. They don't. They really don't. Last week, without the big stars, the only big star on last week's show was Dominic and Becky, which are people they've had on their shows before. NXT last week outdrew AEW on its own night, with Edge touted in the main event having his return promo. And AEW still didn't draw the bigger number that week. So maybe the shock title changes and the car crash TV that AEW tried to use tonight, maybe that works to their advantage. We'll see. Overall, I thought NXT hit a home run tonight. But we're on to bigger and better things. Next week, we got a big show coming up as expected, where we've got, like we said, a tag team battle royal with the winners facing off on night 1 of Halloween Havoc against Tony D'Angelo and Stax. We've got Carmelo Hayes versus Baron Corbin versus Dijak as the number 1 contender title match for the chance to face Ilja Dragunov on night 1 of Halloween Havoc. We've got more of the women's breakout tournament next week. I believe we're going to be getting Jakara Jackson and Ariana Grace next week, if I remember correctly. And of course, Tegan Nox versus Lyra Valkyria will be happening next week as well. 4 matches already on the books. But Astrid, where can the people find you this week?
Well, this week, hopefully, I'm glad Mel's in the comments right now because it's great timing. Hopefully, a pre-recorded Ladies Fashion Showcase. But other than that, and hopefully some recording for Killer Cuts as well. We had a lot of horror movies coming out that we have to discuss that I'm really excited about too. But other than that, you can find me as it's there, Twitter and Blue Sky as astridpizarro, and then Instagram and Threads astridpizarro20, and then everything else you're gonna be able to find on my YouTube channel as it is there, astridpizarro. I would say also keep looking up because I got some stuff I'm working on that I can't really talk about much until they come out.
I know you've got a new Astrid Ass coming out in the near future with can I say the name? Do I get to say the name?
No.
It's a fun Astrid Ass that all of you MLW fans are going to really enjoy. Yeah. STG, no, we are not both wrestling writers. My writing is atrocious. However, this one right here is a fantastic writer, and you can check out her work as a writer at bodyslam.net, where she does periodically will do pieces mostly revolving around women's wrestling or things involving NXT. She's a fantastic writer. She does great things. There we go. I was reading her profile as a writer.
If you go under my highlights, they'll be right there highlighted because I had to put them in there somewhere.
So definitely go ahead. She is a much better writer than I. Nobody wants to read my writings. My writings are pretty atrocious. However, the fun things you can find for me is you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584, where I retweet a bunch of stuff. I don't have a lot of my own personal thoughts on Twitter, but I retweet a bunch of the things that are similar to me. You can also find me on Twitch at edfries2002, where I do a lot of gaming content. Most of it's my wrestling content that I do right here that I simulcast there. But remember, I also do Marvel Talk. We will be having that episode this Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to go ahead and have episode 2 of the Loki show. Me and my tag team partner, Andre C., are going to go ahead and talk about it Saturday morning because his work shift got changed, so it's no longer a late night Saturday night. It's early morning cartoons with Ed and Andre. We're going to go ahead and talk all about episode 2. Remember that you can find all our local establishment stuff right over here at our local establishment. OLE Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, on Twitch, on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe on YouTube so you get your notifications whenever our shows go live, whenever we put up new content, because we always put our shows, if you miss it live, all of our shows end up in the back catalog on YouTube, so you can go ahead and check them out right there. Leave a like, leave a comment, go ahead and subscribe there. Tomorrow night, Wrestle Draft Baby is back. Yes, no more solo Wrestle Draft for me. I'm finally going to be out of that hole. Well, Astrid, it was tough for me. Did a lot of talking during those ones. So now,
I know. I'm glad I saved you.
Yes, you saved me the first week, and then Mr. Chris Parrish and Carl Carafel definitely saved me the second week. So you can go ahead and see Wrestle Draft tomorrow night, right after AEW Dynamite. You can catch me and Chris Parrish as we go head-to-head in our premium live event. And I believe it is Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but you can go ahead and catch it this week. No solo week 3. No more solo Wrestle Drafts. STG says, is it a Chelsea Green focused one? It is not. The only teaser I will give you, it is MLW related. It is a fantastic star from the world of MLW. We are going to go ahead and send all of our lovely viewers to a friend of ours if they are still online. Let me see. Astrid, can you buy me some time?
What you got? Let's see. Who do we have? I feel like we should do the Wheel of Fortune as we're thinking about who to rate.
Yes, I was looking for EPW show, but it appears that they are no longer online. Send our friends that way. You know what? Let's just send our friends to the wonderful, the talented, and lovely Allison K. How about that?
Sounds good, Chief.
All right. We're going to go ahead and raid Allison K. She is doing some cosplay makeup, it looks like. So go ahead and send her some love. Go ahead and thank you for joining us this week. And please make sure that you catch us next week as we go ahead and talk all things NXT next Tuesday night. We'll see you then. Goodbye, everybody.
Buttons.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming